Hello, this is Zach from mycodeteacher.com. Today I'm going to teach you how to animate an image, basically rotating, scaling, and moving it around the view in the iPhone. So let's go ahead and get started by creating a new application. So we're going to open up Xcode here. We're going to go to File, New Project, and this is going to be a view-based application. So we're going to go ahead and call this Transformations. And we're going to go straight into our interface builder file. In this case, we're going to go to the transformations view, which is connected to the main window. And we're going to make 4 different actions connected to buttons, and those are going to be what's going to scale our image. So we're going to make a button to enlarge an image, a button to shrink an image, a button to move an image, and a button to rotate an image. So let's go ahead and open up our library and drag those buttons in. So we're just going to have 1, 2 buttons, 3, and 4. Alright, so we're going to enlarge. We're going to make 1 for shrinking, 1 to move the image, and finally 1 to rotate the image. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in our image right now. We're just going to put that right in there, and we're going to have to name that after we add our image into the project. So go back to Xcode, and in this case I have mct.png. This will be included in the downloadable. You can use any other image, it doesn't really matter, just make sure it's relatively small. So I've added this into my resources folder, mct.png, and I'm going to go ahead and name it right here. So I'm going to go to the inspector, first tab, I'm going to name it mct.png, and it loads right in. Alright, that's actually all we're going to need to do with Interface Builder for now. Let's just go ahead and make these a little bit larger. Yeah, they're actually right on. So let's go ahead and go back into our project, and if you open up your classes group, you're going to see the app delegate and the view controller. We're actually not going to need to edit the app delegate, so let's go ahead and go into our view controller. So we're going to need to make our image connected to Interface Builder. So we're going to declare an IB outlet of type UI image view, and we're just going to call this main image. And that's all we're going to need to do for the image. Now we're going to need to declare 4 IB actions, which are going to be connected with the 4 buttons. And again, the first one was going to be enlarge. The second one was going to be shrink. The third one was going to be move. And the fourth one, oops, just type that. The fourth one was going to be rotate. Okay. So now let's go back into Interface Builder, and we're going to connect all of our IB outlets and IB actions. So we need to click on the Files Owner box, leave our view open here so we can connect them. So we're going to connect our main image, drag the main image property to the image, the enlarge IB action to the enlarge button with an action of touch up inside. Now move, touch up inside, rotate with the event of touch up inside, and last but not least, shrink with touch up inside. Okay, so these are all now connected to code. So let's go ahead and build the methods. Now we're going to go into our .m here. I'm going to copy all these, save us a little bit of typing. And we'll go ahead and paste this right in here. And we'll start with our enlarge method. Now what we're going to use here, we're going to use the UI views method called begin animations, and also the set animation duration and the commit animations. All of these are methods that are going to help transform our image using the CG-Affine transform data structure. The CG-Affine transform data structure is part of the Quartz 2D framework, and basically what the CG-Affine transformation does is it will tell us how points in one system, in one system's map points, will compare to another coordinate system. So we're going to plug in some specific arguments that are going to help transform this image to a particular format that we give it. Let's go ahead and start with our UI view method. And again, we're going to call begin animations. Now, it's going to ask for an animation ID as an argument. We don't have one, so we're going to put nil. And we don't have a context either. This is all for the animation delegates, and we don't need any of that. It's a little too advanced. We're just going to do some basic rotations today. So we have our begin animations. We've declared that we're going to have an animation. Now we need to set an animation duration, basically how long the animation is going to last for, how long it takes to get from point A to point B. And we're going to do that by calling UI view set animation duration, and it needs to be an NS time interval, which is essentially a nice little float. So now we need to actually call our CG affine transform data structure. So we're going to go ahead and do that by typing in CG affine transform, and we're going to make this an object called transform. And we're going to go ahead and set that equal to CG affine transform make. We just left it like this, it would create a new matrix, but we're going to specify what type of matrix we're going to create, and that's going to be a scale. So CG affine transform make scale. And now if you visit the CG affine transform reference class, you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of different matrices that you can create, which again are comparing the points in one system map points to another coordinate system. So it gives you all the different types of matrices you can make. One of them is make scale, and you basically just plug in two arguments and it'll plug them in the matrix appropriately to transform this image. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to plug in our two arguments, and the arguments basically are just how big you actually want to make it. Well, we put in 1.8, so that's 1.8 times larger than the original size. So it's going to go ahead and scale this image to 1.8 times its original size. So we've done that. Now we need to set the main image, which has a property of transform, which actually this is the coordinate system that the transform is going to be comparing itself with. And so main image dot transform needs to be set to a CG affine transform type, so we're going to set that equal to transform. Now all we need to do is use our UI view method to commit the animations. And that will do it. So we basically know how to do this for the enlarge, so let's go ahead and apply this to our other methods, and we should be done. So this is going to be for shrinking. So this is the same type of matrix we're going to be creating here, and that's a scale. So let's go ahead and make this 0.25, and that'll make the image 25% of its original size. Now, to move it, we'll specify an x and y coordinate that we want it to move to, and rather than make scale, we're going to call make translation, and we're going to set 0.0 and 250 pixels. That'll just be an example of a coordinate system that the image will move to. And for rotating, we need to specify in radians, which if you don't know what radians are in pre-calculus, you'll learn all about radians. And basically pi is a 180 degree rotation. Pi divided by 2 is 90 degrees, etc. You want to refer to the unit circle to reference this. I'll go ahead and show you this right now actually. We'll go to images and we'll type in unit circle. Here's a good one. Now as you can see here, it's very, very tiny, but you can see that this right here is pi. And from its original starting point, which was right here, the 0, from here to this point is pi, which is 180 degrees, and that's how far our image will rotate. It will basically rotate upside down because we're going to type in 3.14. Now if we want it to rotate 90 degrees, we'll need to type in pi 3.14 divided by 2. Or you can use this unit circle to plug in your formula to give it a specific amount to rotate. So based off of that unit circle, we're going to go ahead and rotate. Instead of make scale, we're going to call it make rotation, excuse me, and we're going to type in 3.14. So we should be good to go ahead and test this out. So go ahead and build and go. And it's going to go ahead and install here. So right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and do the rotation. So go ahead and click the rotation button. And like I said, 180 degrees. There you go. Let's go ahead and shrink this. It goes back to its original format. So it re-rotated back. We'll go ahead and enlarge it. And just so you can see that the shrink doesn't actually rotate, we'll click shrink again. It goes back. Okay, now we'll go ahead and move it. It goes back to its original size and moves to the location we specified. Our buttons are now gone, but you can still actually click them. So we click the rotate button, moved 180 degrees again, and there you have it. It's actually really simple to use the Quartz 2D framework for the CG affine transform to simply rotate an image. Now just for the heck of it, we'll play around with this unit here. We'll do 3.14 divided by 2 so I can show you that the unit circle does not lie. It will be a 90-degree rotation, so it should go flat on its side. There you go. That's going to conclude my tutorial today on some basic 2D animations for the iPhone. My name is Zach from mycodeteacher.com, and I'll see you next time.